எல்லோருக்கும் எனது மாலை வணக்கம். Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank the Canadian Tamil Medical Association for giving me this tremendous opportunity to speak with you. I have always been fascinated by Africa, especially Mount Kilimanjaro, from the time I was a teenager reading about it. While attending school in Sri Lanka, I always wanted to climb it. But the reason I finally ended up climbing was a very personal one. For decades, I watched my mother struggle with deep depression and paranoid schizophrenia to the point of suicidal ideations. I felt as though she was shackled and caged in her own brain without knowing if a key existed to escape her situation, which tormented her immensely until her last breath. Sometimes death is a kindness because it is better than continued sorrow. It was certainly true in my mother's case. My mother is no longer, and she has been relieved of all her anguish. But for millions of Canadians, this suffering is still an ongoing reality. For them, overcoming their mental illness can feel like climbing a mountain. Along with my wife, Sue, who's in the audience tonight, and our son, Aaron, who is not in the audience tonight, we wanted to let those who are fighting mental illness, the unwavering warriors, know that they can conquer their own mountains. Together as a family, we mountaineered for mental health by climbing 19,341 feet to the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. After 6 days of climbing for about 10 hours a day on average, we summited Kilimanjaro's Uhuru Peak, the highest peak in the African continent, around 9:30 a.m. on August 26th of this year. Then it took 2 more days to descend to the base of the mountain, in total of 8 grueling days of this expedition with no shower and sleeping in tents in sub-zero temperature. But our 8 days of struggle during this expedition comes nothing close to those who struggle daily under the spell of mental affliction. Our aim was to raise awareness and to fight to shatter the stigma surrounding mental illness by helping those who are suffering to overcome their fear of it. Those who struggle with mental issues are often reluctant to speak or seek help due to the nature of its stigma. And just as tragically, some people who are mentally ill are far more likely to be ignored by their own family and friends. We wanted to help destigmatize mental health issues by raising money for this cause. So far, this expedition to Kilimanjaro helped to raise about $55,000 and counting. In collaboration with Canadian Tamil Medical Association, we will continue to raise funds to help identify and deliver mental health program in the GTA. We encourage you to generously donate towards this fight against this debilitating health issue that we have for far too long ignored as a community. The link you see on the screen is still open and ready to accept your donation. And if you have already donated, we'd like to thank you for your generosity. At the very least, it is vital that we show some empathy for those who struggle and that we take the time to say few kind words and listen to those who truly need to be heard. Such gestures can be a symbol of welcome shift in how we support those who struggle with mental health issues on a daily basis. New Zealand's mountaineer, explorer, and philanthropist Sir Edmund Hillary once said, "It is not the mountain you conquer, but ourselves." Besides walking being the most ancient form of exercise, there is something about climbing mountains. It is synonymous with struggles of life. Because one thing I learned on my grueling 8-day expedition is that there are no shortcuts to any place worth going. In turn, it turns out excellence is gradual result of always striving to do better, just like climbing or hikes, one foot after another for very long hours despite the elevation and the extreme weather. Reaching the next level in your life is like climbing mountains, merely a function of creating your own opportunities one step at a time. But I also learned that when you spend 8 days in a small tent with your wife, with no one to shower in the tent for 8 days, and if the marriage can last that long and we can still laugh about it, maybe there's future for both of us for a very long time soon. As soon as I summited, I put up my mother's picture at the top of the Mount Kilimanjaro in solidarity and as a symbol and a symbolic gesture. I did this for her and many like her. Conquering our personal mountain is something we all battle with in our lives daily. With the climb to Kilimanjaro, my wife Sue, my son Aaron, and I want people with mental illness to see that it is possible to overcome their struggles. They deserve our support to help them fight their daily battles by conquering themselves. So please give generously, and I thank you for listening and for your support. Enjoy the night. Walkavalamudan.